put some rocks in a shoebox, and we rolled the shoebox around with all these pebbles. You know, and then we grabbed that and created a rhythm out of it. And so when we added some stomps and this rolling box of rocks, it created this grindy kind of rhythm. And then we added a riff to it that was a very simple riff, kind of sad sounding. But I didn't know what I was going to play for the main song, you know, so we started with the rhythm, then put a riff, and I was like, okay, so where does it go from here? So I stomped on the pedal in time, and I was for hours straight sitting at the computer, and I think there's footage of this, of the documentary we made. Maybe you can show it right here. Where does this need to go? It's building. Fuck! I can bring in some rhythms underneath that thing, but it's what happened right here is what's throwing me for a loop.
Right.
We go into some other kind of... I'm sitting at the computer, and it just kind of starts to happen. Here, it's a little dry. On the song, in the moment, it was something that gave you the chills up and down your arms. And I remember stopping and looking at Critter, and I was like, holy shit, we got something. I remember during writing the words, actually, because I had a friend whose wife left him. Just figured that she can find something better, and he loved her. I remember him saying, I don't know if you'll ever know what it's like to love somebody so much more than they will ever love you, is what he said to me. So I remember feeling so beat up from everything I was going through with the whole Blink situation and trying to find a new identity and all that kind of stuff. And then my friend says that to me, and I was like, fuck then. We're gonna make a song that makes you feel like you can conquer the world. That night, after I sang it, I remember sitting in the studio at 2 a.m. It was at my house, my family's asleep, and I was listening to this thing, and about halfway through this song, I had these tears in my eyes, and I felt like there was something magical happening. That happens to me every once in a while, where I'm a part of something artistically where I... Pulling out the meaning, it's all right to tell me, rescuing a nightmare from a dream. What you think about me? The voices in my head are always screaming. I won't try to argue that none of this means anything to me. Or hold it against you. It's a long way back from 17. The whispers turn into a scream, and I guess this I'm not coming. So when I'd play guitar, I would go as fast as I could, just trying to get it out, and I'd release the emotion, you know, and I'd fall asleep in my room. And I did that until I got kicked out of high school.
My love life was getting so bland. There are only so many ways I can make love with my hand.
So I go to this other high school, and they had a battle of the bands, and I saw this little 8th grader come up, and he was like a good drummer. Afterwards, I walked right up to him. I was like, dude, we should jam. And he was like super young. He was like, okay. And that was Scott Rayner, the first drummer of Blink. So now I'm in meeting Scott, and we're jamming in his room in Poway every once in a while. And then at that same school I went to, I met this girl. And I was hanging out with the only like 3 skateboarders in the whole high school. And he started dating this girl, and the girl says, hey, my brother plays bass. He's moving down here from Ridgecrest. And this was Mark's sister, Ann. So I met Mark, and it was funny. He came over with the bass guitar, and we sat in my garage, and I said, here's a riff I had. And he starts pounding away on the bass, and it just like, he played the exact same way I play guitar, which is, you can either strum, or you can do a lot of downstrokes, you know, a lot of downstrokes. It's a very Descendants kind of thing to do, and we were both just giant Descendants fans, so the music just worked. And next thing you know, he comes over, and we're playing.
never felt so alone again. Stop to think at wishing well. My thoughts send me on a carousel. Here I am, standing on my own. Not emotion from the telephone. I know, not a reason why. Solitude's a reason to die. Just you wait and see. A school life is it is a walking dream. Aren't you flat alone? I guess just another night alone.
This room specifically, we were putting together our first well-recorded songs, and Mark had this song, and he just had this thing that was the most basic chord progression that we've used 1,000 times. Just doing this. And he came in and he goes, what if I did a riff over it? And it's the most simple song. It starts with a riff and it goes into muted power chords.
It's alright to tell me.
I remember, wow, that was some catchy shit. But it was the arrangement of the song that changed the band. The chorus and then the bridge, and then all of a sudden the chorus came back in, and then the riff came back in, and it says, well, I guess this is growing up. There's something about that riff saying, I guess this is growing up, and the architecture that never left me. From that point on, we're like, we know how to write a song. Everything up till that point was like, these are punk rock little art pieces, spastic and searching for a soul or an epicenter or a foundation, you know, like who we are. But when we hit Damn It, we figured out right away who we are.
Why do evil men get away with it? Can't you see that I'm in the road of shit? Turn up back on hope and go back inside. Stop my bleeding heart and let the engine die. I don't wanna know, I don't wanna know, I don't wanna know, I don't wanna know. Go, I don't wanna know, go, I don't wanna know, go, I don't wanna know, go, I don't wanna know.
The club on the weekend, acting stupid, getting drunk with my best friends. I couldn't wait for the summer and the Warped Tour. I remember it's the first time that I saw her there. She's getting kicked out of school cause she's failing. I'm kinda nervous cause I think I'll invitate me. She's the one, she'll always be there. She took my hand and I made it, I swear.
We know how to write a catchy song. I remember there was this one time we were writing in this little hot room, and I think Travis was frustrated, and he came up to me and he was all, why can't you write something that's not just like straightforward, just normal. I mean, I'm playing the same beat each time. And I go, well, I'm not a fucking groove expert. That's your job. You're a kick-ass drummer. Why don't you tell me like how to play something that's rhythmic? And I remember he looked at me and this light bulb went off. Almost like, oh, well, I can play whatever I want. And then you might even change what you're doing to fit my thing if I have a rad idea. Because then I might just play something kind of straightforward that if you weren't Travis, you would just play a normal beat. But he goes, well, what if I flip it around and the snare starts off the beat? And I'm like, oh, then I wouldn't go straight forward. I would make this more rhythmic and I'll throw in a little note here or there. So it's not just power chords. And something that's super simple became kind of clever. And that realization was like a nuclear bomb in the studio. That was everything. That was like, we got a third songwriter in the band. You know, it wasn't just Mark and I coming up with little ideas. The three of us were really interacting. Blink 182, you know, it started literally with these two things on Cheshire Cat. You know, that's all I used. It's funny because on the following album, Dude Ranch, this guitar moved over to this head. And what I ended up doing was using both of these amps. But then when I went and did Boxcar Racer, I felt like this was like tiny. I felt like this was more of a like a violin on a 6'4" dude. I put this here, and this is the guitar that started my change, where that was cool. There was so much more craftsmanship in this guitar. It's a semi-hollow body, so it has a fuller tone, and it feels more like an acoustic where you feel the guitar vibrating, but it was bigger, and it felt like a work of art in itself. So once I decided that that's what I wanted to play, I got my own model. The whole chocolate brown, the racing stripe is kind of retro, it's kind of thrift store. It sounded great in the studio. It sounded great in a live show. It sounded incredible playing these 1052 strings. But after a while, I realized that I didn't like how glossy it was. I didn't like how new it was. So I got rid of just having a normal paint job, and I started spray painting my own guitars and burning it. But you got to be careful because when you light this on fire, the paint will it'll explode. You have to be professional at vandalism to get this effect. It just looks fucking cool. Looking cool is like 90% of all music. It might even be 93%. It was my 18th birthday, and I come home and there's like these scratch marks all the way across the sidewalk from the front door out to the driveway. And I walk home, I was like, what the hell are all these scratch marks? And I followed them from the driveway up to the front door, opened the front door, and all the furniture is gone. Someone dragged the furniture out. And I realized that my dad moved out right at that moment. It was the 20th anniversary of my parents, and everything just, all hell broke loose on that day. Like anybody, you know, it would affect you to see your parents break up like that. I wanted to tackle that in a song. Stay together for the kids. It was a simple thing, but I think the magic of it was that was all pretty, but I wanted to do something we never did before, and that was on the chorus. Turn on all the pedals. I think we hit on something that sounded like adolescence lashing out over being caught in the middle of a storm that they had no control of. You know, you grow up thinking that your parents are more powerful than they are. They know a lot more than they do. And as you get older, you start to learn they're just people too. They're about as vulnerable and as, you know, destructible, you know, as you are. And I think that's what's great about rock and roll. It's not about the music as much as it's about the emotion. And the emotion is what resonates with people. They feel something. I think sometimes we lose sight of that importance. When you're a musician, you get caught up in the business, you get caught up in the work, you get caught up in the fame or whatever, and then all of a sudden someone slaps you upside the head with reality, you know, and you're like, wow, you know, art is really important. It's just really super important.
I caught her with her brother in her bed.
With her brother in bed.
5 arms, 10 legs, and 4 toes.
The bitch has got 4 toes.
But when you fuck her